Hello everybody, Rod Shelley here, and I'm going to do a short video here. This is kind of my technique for adding content to DAZ Studio, content that is not purchased from DAZ. Obviously, getting things from DAZ, the easiest way to do it is with the DAZ install manager. It's just pretty much click and forget, and it does all the work. But if you get content, say, from Renderosity, you don't have that option. But here's how I do it. Now, my setup is a little different than most people. I also can't talk. I've got a couple new ones here for DAZ Studio. Got Pamela for Genesis 8 and Rosie for G3 and G8. So I have a setup here where I have basically one computer that acts as my push server and also my main poser computer. But it's also a push server. I download my content to it and then use it to distribute content to the other computers. So I've got an O drive here, which is an external hard drive on this computer, and we'll start with Pam, and let's make those a little larger so you can see what I'm doing. Now this drive is on it's basically an older computer that I'm using as a storage server. It has 4 external hard drives, and it basically acts as backup for the other computers for some of the more important stuff. Like, for instance, all the runtimes I've bought over almost 10 years. Having to go in and reload all of that stuff would just... it gives me hives thinking about it. Anyway, this one's labeled DAZ Backup, and I have the DAZ content on my new computer, the DAZ computer, and I also have a backup. So I have it in 2 places. Now what I usually do is, alright, let's open this up. Got data, documentation, and people. Okay, this goes into your My DAZ 3D library. Now I don't usually drag the documentation over. I figure I've got it on the download drive, so if I need to refer to it, I can there. I basically select data, people, drag that over, and off it goes. It's now installing to the data and people folders in my DAZ 3D library. And I usually get this. This is just a little ping image that some vendors put in their stuff. And you can see the data and the people folders are highlighted there. So let's go back and get the other folder. Runtime is probably all the textures. Drag that into the same thing. Let it load up. And let's go back to this one. I also download stuff. I put it in a folder by date. Download from Renderosity 2019 March, and we're in 03/15/19. So it just kind of keeps it somewhat organized. One part of my life that's somewhat organized. Alright, so I will do the same thing with Rosie. So data, people, runtime, drag it over to the DAZ back. Now it's going into the backup drive right now. It's not going into the actual drive on the DAZ computer. You could just as easily drag it to the drive on the DAZ computer, but this is just the way I do it. That way it's already on the backup drive, and all I have to do is install it on the DAZ computer. And drag it over. Yes. And let it copy over to the backup drive. All right. And I usually, when I do this, I have icons for the folders, and I will go in to the properties and change the icon, and I use this little icon to remind me that it's installed in DAZ. That way it just keeps things organized. And most of the time I know what I've got and what I don't. So now I've got the DAZ content installed on the backup drive. And the next step is take it from the backup drive and put it on onto the DAZ computer. So we'll do that next. Okay, we're on the DAZ computer now, and Tina and Tina are smiling at us. I have an application called AllWaySync. And this is, I think it's about 25 or 30 bucks, I don't know. It's well worth every cent because it is just super handy for doing backups and things like what I'm doing now. Now I've got a tab here for DAZ backup, which is basically it copies everything that's on the D drive on this computer and puts it on the U drive, which is the letter designation for the drive where the content was just installed. So basically what this does is it goes in and it looks at, I'll hit analyze here. Actually I need to do something first. I probably don't have these drives connected. I'm going to go ahead and connect the U drive just so you don't have to sit here and watch me connect all these drives. So basically what it does when you hit analyze is it goes through and it compares what's on the D drive on this computer with what's on the U drive on the backup server. So basically you don't have to download everything from one drive to the other. It just goes through and looks for the differences, and then it acts based upon those differences. And any files that have changed, you can see here I've done some work with Signy, Pixeluna's Signy, Signy. I'll have to look at it. I hope I'm not butchering her name, Jenny. So it'll go through, you can see it looking at the unchanged files, and this takes a while sometimes, so I'm going to pause this so you don't have to sit here and be bored with watching this little thing creep across the screen. Okay, while we're waiting on AllWaySync to do its analysis magic, thought I'd give you a quick clarification on how this all works. This computer, this is both the main poser computer and the download computer. All the content from Renderosity or other places gets downloaded onto this computer and goes onto one of these external drives. From there, I use AllWaySync to distribute. For instance, I will distribute the poser content to this computer, to the laptop over here, which also has poser on it, and to this computer over here, which is my main Photoshop computer, but it also has poser on it. The computer over here, this is an older computer and it's not real fast. Doesn't work well with 3D stuff, but it works great as a backup and distribution server. It has 4 external drives connected to it, one of which, you see this one's labeled Image Library. This one here is master runtimes, so that's the master poser runtimes that get distributed to the other computers. And then one of these other two is the DAZ backup computer, backup and distribution. From there, it will go over to the DAZ computer. So that's kind of the way this works. Okay, we're done now, and everything it's gone through, it's analyzed the contents of both drives, and the differences it has listed here. And you can see here's the all the Pamela files, and if we scroll down, there's the Rosie files. So took a little while to do the analysis, but it gave me time to go get a cup of coffee so you don't have to listen to me clearing my throat every 30 seconds. Oh yeah, nectar of the gods. So what we do now is we just hit the synchronize button, and it'll think for a second and then take off, and now it's taking everything off of the backup drive, or basically the distribution drive, and it's now installing it into the proper directories on the D drive on this computer where DAZ Studio will be able to find it. And that's pretty much all there is to it. As I continue to clear my throat every 30 seconds. And it goes right to 100% and pretty much done. But this AllWaySync is a great little feature. It's a great little application for doing backups, especially because, like I said, you don't have to, if you've got 200 gigabytes of files, you don't have to reload that entire 200 gigabytes of files, which takes all day. It just goes through, notices the difference, and then it acts on that. So it's a pretty efficient little program, and like I said, it's I'll put a link in the description, but it's somewhere about 25, 30 bucks, something like that. And you can put it on as many computers as you want to. So, and you might ask, well, why doesn't he just go from the download computer directly to the DAZ computer? I could do that, and then use the backup, use AllWaySync to back it up. But the big problem with that is my networking. I'm no networking expert by any manner or means. I know just enough to be dangerous. But part of the problem is not all of the computers can read all of the drives on all of the other computers. For instance, now this one can read the O drive on the other computer, so I could just go directly from that to this one and then back up to the backup drive. It works either way. It's just a matter of personal preference. But this way, I send it to the backup drive, which also acts as a distribution drive. I distribute it to this computer. I do the same thing with the poser content. I load it into the distribution drive on the backup computer and then distribute it to the other computers that have poser on it. That way it's already backed up there, and then it's distributed to the other computers, and the job is done. So anyway, that's how I use AllWaySync as my installation and backup. Basically kills two birds with one stone. So thanks for watching, and if you have any questions, just leave them in the comments, and we'll be back at you a little later.